What's going on, everyone? Back with another episode to Sit Down here. I'm your host, Ernest. We got Jordan, and today we got two-time Super Bowl champ for the Kansas City Chiefs, quarterback Chris Oladokun. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, guys? Appreciate y'all for having me on.
Yes, sir, man. Glad to have you.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you hopping on, bro. I know we're going to got a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it. I know just growing up in the Tampa area, definitely you being a name, big-time name, a lot of people looking up to. Let's just talk about in the beginning, just talk about your sports journey. I know you did a lot of sports growing up. Just talk about what it was like just growing up in Tampa.
Well, being a Tampa kid, I sort of lived all over Tampa. I started growing up in Carrollwood, then moved out to New Tampa, then came over to Town and Country, West Chase. Like I lived all over. So, I love every single part of, Tampa. And I grew up playing baseball, basketball, football, ran a little bit of track in high school and middle school, I should say. But honestly, growing up, I wanted to be in the major leagues. Like, that's always what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a pitcher, a shortstop. Baseball is my first love. Loved everything about it. Grew up playing travel ball, traveling the whole country pretty much, playing ball every summer. And that was like my main goal, my main focus, growing up. And then I'd probably say around like 10 years old, I moved from the Northside Dolphins to the Town and Country Packers. And if anyone in Tampa knows about the Town and Country Packers back then, we were winning almost every single year. We were winning the Super Bowl. And so I think from my team alone, we had like 8 dudes that are either playing in the league now or played at some point in the league. So once I got over there and started sort of having success, and people are like, hey, man, like, you can really sling the rock. Like, you can play quarterback for real. And I just loved what changed my whole mindset on baseball and football was I loved like the rush I got before a game. Like, all the fans just right there. You're just 11 other people on the field with you and just going to battle with your brothers. I mean, that's something I loved. So the older I got and the more I started to excel in football, I was like, shoot, I might have to give this a shot. Plus, baseball started to get a little boring for me.
I tell you what, Chris, I'm real close with your brother, man, Jordan. So we was talking to him about, baseball. Jordan was really good at baseball. And he said he'd been better than you for a long time. Let me know.
It's crazy he says that because he got everything he knew from me. But I do give it to him though. Like, he was way more excelled than me at like an early age because he was doing things I didn't learn until I was 9 years old, and he was doing it at like 4 or 5. So he definitely had the advantage of having a brother and my dad and myself pulling him out there and having him do the same exact drills as us. But I think we definitely could have had a future in baseball. But especially as we got older, he probably might have had me by a little bit.
Dang. And talking about baseball, is that something that like your parents put on you, or like what really said about baseball at a young age with you guys?
Nah, honestly, my parents just put me in a whole bunch of stuff. Like, I was a little chunky baby, so they're probably like, nah, like, you gotta figure something out. It's just the way. And obviously, my dad has a huge sports background, and my mom loves sports as well. So that was something that they always knew I was gonna do. So actually, the first sport they ever put me in was soccer at like 3 years old, and they said I'd hated it, couldn't stand it. I hated the whole like running up and down the field. Like, that was for me. Like, I was trying to get the ball like as close to the goal as possible. I'm not passing it, and I'm only shooting. And so I guess the following season came rolling around. They're like, "Hey, Chris, you want to play soccer?" And I told them no. I was like, "I'm not playing soccer again." Yeah. So then that's when I got into baseball. Honestly, my dad, that was the next sport I played, and I had like a little like T-ball like play set at home, and I used to just sit there all day and just tee it up, hit it, go chase it, run, put it back on the tee, and I used to do that all day. And so that was sort of like the first thing that, he put me into. And then it was basketball, and then football slowly came after that.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So what position you play in baseball?
I played pitcher and shortstop.
Ooh. Okay. Who were some of them players who were some of your favorite players at the time?
So what's crazy is even throughout the draft process, people would ask me, like scouts would ask me who my favorite athlete is. And still to this day is my favorite athlete, Chipper Jones. I grew up like a Braves fan. My dad was an Atlanta Braves fan, and so I loved the way Chipper played, like everything about it. Like, he played shortstop, then moved to third, and I don't know what sort of drew me towards him, but like, I used to go out to Orlando at Disney every summer. I used to go watch batting practice, go to all the spring training games, and I actually have a couple like signed Chipper Jones baseballs with Andrew Jones and Tom Glavine, those, throwback guys. So, yeah, Chipper Jones. And then obviously like playing shortstop, Derek Jeter was someone that I always wanted to play like too as well.
Everybody liked Derek Jeter growing up, man.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like every single time I say Chipper Jones, those guys would just look at me like, you'd probably think my favorite athlete's like a quarterback or something. But
that's how I know you really know ball, though. We talking about Chipper.
Yeah, I really know my ball.
Yeah.
I know my ball for sure.
That's what's up, dog. But yeah, we're gonna not get to the gridiron now. What you here for? Hey,
yeah.
Hey, talk about your recruitment journey. Growing up in high school. USF coming out. Then you went to Sanford. Actually played with Jordan for a brief time there. Then you finished out at South Dakota. So just talk about your journey.
But before you get into that, because I know Ern, you may not know a little bit. Because I know just growing up, I was probably a couple years behind him. There was a lot of people who thought, hey, it was maybe some Big 12 schools at the time that may come get you, Big 10 schools that may have tried to come get you. How they come and snatch you from Florida?
First off, I hated recruiting. I hated everything about it. It was just a super stressful time. I felt like I had so many people that, were reaching out, and I hate disappointing people. So, when you got to make that phone call to a certain school, like, hey man, like, I'm not coming. I hated that feeling. That was like the worst part of recruiting for me. Obviously it was a blessing. I forget how many offers I had. I was in high school like 10 years ago at this point, which I'm getting old. But I was blessed to have, pretty good number of offers. And USF was always like a school that stood out to me. Just being from Tampa, I always felt like, being a hometown QB is like, it's like a road to glory type of thing. Like that's the thing you dream of. And so, when they offered me, that was like a big day for me. Like I remember going out to dinner with my dad, and we're all just super, super pumped up for that. And then like Power 5 schools sort of started coming to mix. Nebraska was the first Power 5 school to offer me actually. And I'll never forget it because I was in Orlando at the Elite 11, and I was sort of, I was like a, group of 5 school kid, like didn't have any Power 5 offers yet. And I lit it up that day. And then they called me on my ride home from Orlando and offered me. And so that was the first time I was like, whoa, like Power 5 schools are really offering me. And then Iowa State came, and I was like, all right, like starting to pick up some traction now. And to be honest, Power 5 schools never really, that wasn't my main goal, like to like grow up and play for a Power 5 school. Like that wasn't, I wanted to play somewhere where I felt comfortable, where I felt the most wanted. And that's what USF gave me ultimately. And so went to USF, played for Coach Taggart, which I got to chop it up with him when we played the Ravens this past year in the AFC Championship game. So that was cool. And then ended up playing for, Coach Strong for the next 2 years. And I loved USF. I loved everything about it. So leaving for me and transferring out was pretty hard, to be honest. And then ended up going to Sanford in Alabama, my first time ever living outside of Tampa. So that was like a whole new experience for me. Not being, a 10-minute drive down the street from my mom where she could cook me dinner, or I could go wash my clothes. Like I'm 8 hours away now. But I did a lot of growing up in that time. Still met some of my best friends to this day, at Sanford. So I'm grateful for my time there. And then, like Ern said, my brother ended up coming to Sanford after he had some things that, didn't work in his favor. And I dipped on my brother, which, he still gives me some shit for that because I literally told him, like, hey, come sign at Sanford. Like, we never played together. Like, that's always been me and my little brother's dream, like, to get to, play on the same team as each other. And then he literally signed, and I think I entered the transfer portal like 3 weeks later. And so, but he obviously knew before anyone, and he knew the situation I was in. And, I just simply did it for, my best shot to take that next step. And then that's when I went to South Dakota State. And that South Dakota State changed my life. Like, I'm forever indebted to South Dakota State because they took a kid all the way from Tampa, Florida, moved him to the middle of nowhere. I had no clue where South Dakota was on the map. I still don't know if I can point it out on a map for real. I went out there and did my thing, and the rest is history.
Now, talk about that final time at South Dakota, obviously being at 2 other schools prior, and then your mindset headed into your 3rd school. What was your mindset headed into your time at South Dakota?
It was all business. As I look back, being, 18-year-old, 17 going on 18-year-old kid going to USF, like, this is your first time living on your own. You know, USF is a pretty big school, so there's people everywhere. Like, there's freaking parties. There's thousands of things to do.
And the biggest thing is more.
Yeah, exactly. And so, there's so much that's thrown at you, and just from a maturity standpoint, like I always thought I was pretty mature, but I mean, you're an 18-year-old kid as a freshman. Most guys still haven't matured yet. So looking back my time there, like I slowly developed and matured as the years went on, and so by the time I got to South Dakota State, like it was all business for me, and I knew it was my last year. So it was like, I'm gonna give it everything I got. I always took everything serious. I was always the hardest worker, but I even revved it up a little notch just because I knew I only had 6-7 more months to play college football, and I had to play my best ball to get to the league. So it was a time where I really just honed in on my craft, between film study, things I did on the field. It's all I did. I only probably walked on South Dakota State's campus maybe 3 or 4 times. I had all my classes. So like I was doing my class stuff like in the morning, and the rest of the day was football for me. And that's how I approached it. And it honestly helped me, slowly get prepared for the league, just because, that's our job. We're football all day. So that was my whole mindset going in.
Dang. And not to cut you off, I just want to get at this point real quick, just because you mentioned going to USF, being a hometown kid from USF. Can you talk about the distractions that may play into for some people, like you mentioned, being a freshman, 17, 18 years old, and going to college, living on your own for the first time, but as well as just doing that in your hometown city. So like being grown on your own, like, can you just talk about the distraction that might be at play in terms of that while still trying to focus on football, school, and everything?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's tons of distractions. I mean, you're in your hometown. I have some of my best friends that were still living in Tampa. So every single weekend, they're staying with me at USF. Like I'm rolling around with a little entourage with all my high school boys because they're still in there. So I'm bringing them anywhere I was going, any college party I was at. My homies from high school were with me. I had a girlfriend. My girlfriend at the time, she was also in high school, so she was there. And then like also like you just start walking around Tampa, and people know you, like, oh, you played here your whole life, now you're playing college. So everywhere you go, there's people trying to reach at you. So there's definitely hundreds and hundreds of distractions, but I think I managed them as well as I could. I think having my friends with me, still to this day, is something that makes me comfortable, makes me feel comfortable, because not only do I have their best interest, but I know they got mine as well. So that's what I would say, about the whole distraction thing.
It sounds like you was lit at USF, man. I don't know how. That sounds like
hey, man. Hey man,
no.
we definitely had a good time. Anyone that Mike Hampton and Trey Dukes, they're both from Tampa too. They're my roommates. We definitely had a great time. I'll never forget those early USF days. But the thing is, I was doing both so well that I thought it was almost sustainable. I'm like, well, I can be out, but as long as I'm like handling my business and I'm still working hard on the field, like, I thought that's what made me feel at peace.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Wow.
Now, one thing I want to say, I remember the time. I just go back to when you was at Sanford, and when Jordan came, I remember that so vividly, bro. I remember you had posted like you was leaving. I'm like, I sent it to Jordan. I said, "Damn, bro, didn't you just get there?" I thought that was the whole point of you go to Sanford, dog.
Yeah, trust me. I definitely felt a little bad about it.
Yeah.
My whole brother's recruitment process during the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
That sort of got a little screwed up, and so I thought it would have been really cool, but things didn't work out the way I wanted them to. With my career, and I sat down and talked to my brother, and I was like, "Listen, man, I feel really bad, but I got to make this move for myself." And he understood, he knew it, and I sort of knew too, just going into it. Even if I did stay, he was probably going to be a 1 year and done type of guy there and go somewhere else. So it is what it is, but he still definitely gives me shit for it.
Yeah, I'm already knowing, bro.
And then just talk about that going into that last year at South Dakota, with you already having time at Sanford and at USF. Going into that last year, because obviously with NFL being the goal, going into that last year, was there times where like you felt like that goal may not be as as realistic going into last year if you didn't perform how you was wanted to in terms of your own interpretations and your own goals that you had for yourself? Like, did that put pressure on you to really perform in that last year?
It's funny. I think everyone sort of around me, whether it was family, friends, I think when I transferred for the third time and going on to my third school, I think everyone around me was sort of like, all right, like, let's maybe like, all right, let's get through this last year, figure out what you're going to do in life. Like, that's what I felt like. I remember so vividly just one of my coaches, and I love him to death, but just one day I was just talking to him. He's just like, just right after I transferred, he's like, so what you planning on doing after the year? Like, you could come back and coach high school, and I can line you up with certain jobs. And I just remember taking that sort of personal, like, man, like, do you think I can't do this? And so I used everything in the world to motivate me that last year. Like, I just felt like I couldn't be stopped. And then we opened up with Colorado State that year, and we just went crazy. I went crazy, and then that sort of started the NFL buzz a little bit, and it even instilled more confidence in me because I was like, I always knew who I was as a player, and I was like, I just knew I need the right opportunities at the right time to really showcase what I could do, and that's what South Dakota State provided me. Along with being in college, that being my 6th year, I had so much time to mature. I had seen a lot of football. I had played a lot of football. From playing against Power 5, some of the biggest schools, and FBS, and then going to Sanford and playing more of an air raid offense, and then going to South Dakota State, where that's the cream of the crop of the FCS, and getting to play in more of a pro style offense. So I had seen a lot, I had done a lot. And so that last year I was so confident, and I felt so prepared going into that year that I knew that, I was gonna at least give myself a shot when I felt like a lot of people, probably didn't.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I'm glad you used that as motivation because that would have pissed me off personally, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm sitting there. You said, "What? I ain't gonna make it." Oh, okay.
Betting on yourself.
No, and I think for most people it's easy to get pissed off of that and be like, "Damn, like what you mean? Like you're supposed to be on my side?" But at the same time, like we're all human. We all have our own opinions, and I always even like I still tell my mom like she loves me and she probably believes in me more than anyone in this world. But I know, like, in the back of her mind a little bit, she was probably thinking the same thing. Like, I mean, shoot, if I was in someone else's shoes, I probably would have been thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
But I use when I tell you I used everything as motivation. Like, I remember stuff that coaches told me when I was 8. Like, just
you took it personally, everything personally.
Yeah,
you get it?
Yeah, I took it personally, but not in a negative way. It was self-motivating. Like, all right, like, let me show them what I can really do.
Man, that leads to my next thing, man. Like you said, you hella motivated going to that last season. You didn't even step on the campus for you take 3, 4 times. That's kind of
crazy. Yeah, no, I wasn't.
That's how I know you was locked in, bro. You was locked. So talking about your draft buzz, obviously I see Jordan, reposting that. I watched a couple of the highlights and stuff like that. You snapped your last year, bro. You definitely earned your way into the league. So talk about the draft process for you and draft day, how that went.
It's definitely stressful. You got you're pretty much in the biggest job interview of your life from December all the way to the last day of draft day. And then after that, it doesn't stop because then you're rolling into rookie mini camp and training camp and all that. So it's definitely stressful. But if you're anyone that's ever been in that position, you know how blessed, you are to be in that position. I just remember my sort of knock a little bit was I was too small. I was too skinny. I played my last year, my 6th year. I was telling all the scouts I played at like 208, 210. I probably played at like 202, 203 that whole year. And so everyone thought I couldn't gain weight. I was too small. So like I've said, that motivated me. So I got down to Tampa, trained with Yo Murphy and House of Athletes, someone I've trained with, majority of, my life. And we put a plan together, and I told him what, the scouts were saying about me. And, I knew I was going to run well regardless. And so I went that whole combine, those, I think 3 months, 8 weeks or whatever it was. I went from like 202, and then my weigh-in day on my pro day was 223. So I just put on all this weight, and it was just sort of to show them, like, listen, like, I can be as big as you want me to be, and I can cut to as little as you want me to be. And so that was something that was important for me to show. And then also just showing the scouts, like, I felt like once I got in front of them, it was going to be undeniable in terms of just, who I feel like I am as a person, as a player, as a teammate, and then also obviously what I can do on the field. So it was definitely a long process, but it's something that I'm glad and fortunate that I got, to go through.
And throughout the process, throughout like the interviews and meetings, did you have any heads up that it was going to be Kansas City, or did you think like you were going to be going somewhere else?
I mean, it's so hard to tell. You have all these, experts, and you hear like, oh well, you're talking to your agent. Oh well, maybe you'll go in the 6th round. Maybe you'll go in the 7th round. Possibly a priority free agent. Like, you just never know. You hear so many things, and it's like, all right. And then you're seeing guys in front of you who they're listing, as high rated players, and I'm just like, I know he maybe went to a bigger school, but I don't know, man. So you start to see all those things, and I tried to block it out as much as I could, just because there's so much going on. You just got to worry about yourself and your own little world and your team. But it was definitely crazy. Like, I had a meeting at a 30 visit in Kansas City, and I had a 30 visit in Pittsburgh, and I just so happened to end up being with both of them my rookie year. So, I mean, I always felt like both of them showed me the most love, but then draft day comes and you're sitting there and you're just watching picks go by and you're like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
Maybe they don't love me how they said they did.
Yeah, like you honestly don't know what's going to happen. So, like, draft day comes and it's day 3, and, my agent's talking to me, X amount of teams are calling, and possibly anywhere from late 6th to the 7th round. Some teams are calling that don't necessarily need to draft a quarterback, and maybe talking about priority free agent stuff. And I'm sitting there, I got a whole bunch of people at my house. I didn't even want this many people at my place, to be honest. But I got like 50 people there. And so I'm like, I'm outside with my one of my quarterback coaches, John Kaleo, and I'm just isolated from everyone while everyone's in there like drinking and partying and watching the draft. Because there was so much stress and anxiety like going on for me. Like, dang, am I not going to get drafted for real? And so I'll never forget it. Eric Bieniemy called me, Coach EB. He called me. And he's like, "Hey man, we got a pick in about 6 picks." He's like, I'm really pushing for them to draft you. I think it's going to happen. So, stay by your phone, but we're going to try to make you a Chief. So obviously I'm pumped up, but at the same time, I'm like, you hear things during the draft, and so you don't want to get too hyped up, because then if something else happens, it is what it is. And then legit, I hung up the phone, put it down, my phone buzzed again, and it was Coach Tomlin. And then that's when they had like the next pick. I mean, he told me they're going to draft me. So that was obviously a surreal moment for me.
Dang.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy.
Yeah, that's special, man. Honestly, I remember the draft cut. I'm trying to remember, was Jordan there or not? I remember he was calling me.
Yeah, Jordan was with me.
Yeah, he was there. He was calling me, man. I was watching too. I wanted to see you get drafted. I mean, I weren't as not close to you as I am with Jordan, but obviously I wanted to see you succeed as well, dog. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. See you get drafted and everything. I'm just waiting. Then it finally happened, bro. I was happy. I was like just secondhand happy. I don't know what word it is, but I was just happy when you finally got it.
I promise you, they called me, told me they're gonna draft the next pick. So I walk in, and you could hear like a pin drop. Like, my whole family and all my friends, they just sort of stop and look at me, and they're like, "What's up?" And I was just like sort of walking my head down, like walking to the couch, and I was like, Pittsburgh about to draft me. And so everyone's going crazy.
Yeah.
I see my name come up on the screen or whatever. And so then they call me back, like, to tell me congratulations. I couldn't hear shit. Like, Coach T's trying to talk to me, GM's trying to talk to me, owner's trying to talk to me, freaking public relations people, and I can't hear. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't hear anything. Like, I'm gonna have to call y'all back.
Yeah.
So I ended up calling back like 5-10 minutes later, and I just remember like seeing my name on the screen and just like blacking out. And obviously, there's a lot of emotion that goes into that, just because you go 6 years and you have so many people tell you that it's probably not going to work out, and then to see all that hard work over the years since I was 6 years old sort of pay off in that moment. Right. That was really special for me and my family and all my friends that were able to be there. And, it's not going to be a moment I ever forget, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. That moment going from dreams to reality. How fast did that first year go by? Because I feel like ever like that from your last game your senior year up until the end of like your rookie season, I feel like it's just nonstop. Like how fast did that first year go by?
It was the longest year of my life. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Wow.
I mean, you go from, like you said, you go from your last game your senior year, and then 6 days or not even like 4 days later, I was in the gym training for my pro day, like that quick. Like I was in South Dakota. We lost. I get back. I packed up all my things, and the next day I was on a flight to Tampa. And then I get to Tampa. I took like 1 day off, and then I was in the gym. And then from that, you roll right into training all the way through the draft. Then you get drafted. You go to rookie mini camp. Then you go right into OTAs. And then you get finally you get a break for like 4 weeks. But then the rookies go to training camp early. So then you get the training camp and then the whole season. So you really that for pretty much 2 years, I only really got maybe a month and a half off.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's definitely hard on rookies, just in terms of staying mentally locked in, because a college season, 12 to 14 games, if you're lucky to make it to the natty. But man, shoot, that first year, that rookie season, you're sitting there like week 15, you're like, dang, we got about 4 more weeks right now.
And then
after that, where I play, we're not just playing to play the regular season. We're playing to play till the Super Bowl. So then you go from an 18-week schedule to then it gets extended with the Super Bowl to like 25 weeks where you're in it. And so it's definitely crazy. And then a lot of people don't even know too. Like you get done with the Super Bowl, you have all the stuff that comes with the Super Bowl parade, the just all the parties and stuff right after that for like the next 2 weeks. And then right after that, people have been off since January. So people are already back in the gym. Teams are already back in the gym. Guys are working. So you maybe get like 2 or 3 weeks off and you're like, shoot, well, I need to get back in the gym too and prepare for OTAs and get ready for next season. Yeah. So, but I mean, I ain't gonna complain because two rings later, I mean, that's the reason you play the game. So
hey, Chris, how many rings? Say it one more time, man. I don't think they heard
you. Two of them, man. 2 of them. 2 times.
I mean, I got one question for you. This is kind of random, but what's the weirdest thing they asked you in the draft process? Cause I heard there was always stories of people getting asked very strange things during the draft process.
You do get some weird stuff. There's a couple that stood out to me. One of them was just like very upfront, like, are your parents divorced? Like just straight up. and then they ask you like, why'd they divorce? And I'm like, dang, like it's like real personal. That's like a real personal question. One of them that I thought was funny is, do you drink alcohol? I was like, the first thing, like, do you drink alcohol? And so then like I've been prepped for all these questions. Like I was prepped to answer some wild questions. Yeah. So you answer them the best you can, and I'm not gonna lie to them. Like if someone asks me if I drink, like yeah, I drink. Like I drink beer. This is what I drink in social settings. Blah 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 blah. So those are probably the weirdest ones I got. But I've definitely I've heard of some guys getting some like off the wall stuff, whether it's about their childhood or about like what they like to do in their free time. But I fortunately didn't really get anything like too off the wall.
Yeah, that's for real. It'd be out of pocket with some of that stuff. I heard.
Nah, I've definitely heard some guys like they'll go back to like, so why'd you get a speeding ticket when you were 15, like back home, like stuff like that. And I'm like, oh crap, how you know about that?
They sound like the FBI, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Hey, I'm telling you, they'll know. The thing is, when you go into those meetings with scouts, they know every single question they're asking you. They already know the answer. They just want to see if you're gonna lie or not.
Wow.
Like I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they know the answer already going in.
That's crazy.
It's wild. It's wild for sure.
Bro, that's so federal, bro.
Bro, it really is like the FBI, bro. Like real deal FBI stuff.
Yeah.
Dang. But with you having a brief tenure of being around Coach Tomlin and obviously your current head coach being Andy Reid, what are some of those things that really stick out with two of them? Probably 2 different styles, 2 different approaches, but both successful, great coaches. What are some of those things that really stand out about them, and what are some of those things that make them great?
Yeah, I've definitely been blessed. First 2 years in the league, had a brief stint with Pittsburgh, and it didn't really work out the way I planned for it to. But Coach Tomlin's a legend. Like he's about his business. You know, he's gonna give it to you straight. He's gonna give it to you real, and he's not gonna sugarcoat anything. And he expects nothing but excellence. And I feel like that's something that you want as a player. You know, when your coach is gonna go to bat for you, but also he's holding every single guy from T.J. Watt all the way down to the last guy on the roster. He's holding all those guys, you know, accountable, and that's something that I really respected. You know, just getting to be around him, and he's also a cool dude too. Like Coach T was in, he coached in Tampa for a little bit, so me and him sort of had that bond of, you know, in Tampa, and so we used to talk about that too. But definitely loved playing for Coach T, and then obviously in my eyes, Coach Reed's the GOAT, man. He's the best. He's a legend. Just a genius in terms of, you know, play calling and understanding the feel of games and when to call certain plays. I mean, it's just being able to witness it is, you know, something that, you know, only very few people get to do. So definitely blessed to, you know, play for him. And I think something that a lot of people don't know is that, like, he is such a good dude. Like, I'm telling you, could go up and talk to Coach Reed about anything. I'm not gonna lie to you. My rookie year, I was scared to talk to him. I was like, listen, I'm gonna be out of sight, out of mind. Like, I'm gonna do my job, do it to the best of my ability, and just sort of hang in the balance. But you know, as obviously you go along in this thing further, and you know, you gain more people's trust, and obviously you put a good product up on the field, you start to develop more of a relationship. And so Coach Reed, he's really funny. He's a really funny dude. You know, some of the jokes that he cracks are in the quarterback rooms and in team meetings and stuff is it's really funny. And I think a lot of people don't get to see that side of him. But yeah, he's a GOAT in my eyes.
Man, I want to talk about Coach Reed, man. Honestly, he's like I said, you talk about how his personality, you know, how he is on a day-to-day. I'll say what I see about on the outside. Man, he's a pretty funny guy. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think he's a pretty funny dude. After the Super Bowl, they had, was that Super Bowl, some big game y'all had, y'all gave him a cheeseburger, bro, and he ate right.
Yeah, my rookie year, yeah, huge cheeseburger guy. Every Saturday night, we end our team meeting with "Go have yourself a cheeseburger," and that's something that's just his thing. But that's just Coach Reed. Like, he keeps it real light, but when it's time to work, like, it's time to work. And the same thing, like Coach Tomlin, you know, he holds guys from Pat all the way down. You know, everyone's held accountable, and you know, that's how, you know, championship teams are built. And Coach Reed's been doing this thing for a really long time and has had a lot of success in this league. So, you know, as if I can play for Coach Reed forever, I would do it. You know, that's how blessed and how fortunate I am to, you know, be with the Chiefs and get to play under him.
Just talk about the Chiefs organization as a whole, man. What makes them so special, bro? Like, it's just, I feel like everything's just so run. The owner good, he cool. Yeah, always getting the players back. You know, we re-signed Chris Jones. Everybody, you got plenty of players, bro. Like, just talk about what makes the Chiefs so special as an organization.
Well, from top down, you know, from our owner, you know, Mr. Hunt, all the way down to, you know, support staff, our cafeteria workers, janitors, you know, there's a level of expectation. There's a standard in the building, and you feel that standard when you walk in. You know, we have one thing in mind every single year when we walk through that building, and it's a Super Bowl. It's not, well, first it's AFC West, win the AFC West championship.
Yep.
Win the AFC West championship, win the AFC championship, and then win the Super Bowl. Those are the only three things we're thinking of. And so everyone's got the same singular focus in that building. And so you just know, whether you're getting your food from, you know, one of our cafeteria workers, like, they're doing that to make sure we're at our best, so on Sundays we could perform. And so it's a really special group. I think the best thing about it is that everyone truly loves and cares about each other. You know, we're all really close. I think everyone sees on the field, you know, we go to bat for each other out there. You know, you see the emotion from Trav, you see the emotion from Pat, Coach Reed, you know, George, Chris Jones. Like, you see the passion from those guys. And so as a younger dude, you know, even when I'm not playing, like, I have that same passion, that same fire, because we're all in this together. And I think they do a really good job of making sure even guys like myself that may not play a lot, making sure they feel like they have a hand in this. You know, Coach Spags, I'm a scout team quarterback, and Coach Spags has given me so much confidence and so much just has made me feel like, on Sundays, I'm one of the reasons that we win because I'm giving our defense a good scout team look. And, so when you have, an organization like that where top to bottom, they make sure that everyone feels like they have a hand and, a piece in the pie, it's a good feeling.
Being in a quarterback with someone as good as Patrick Mahomes, people even now consider him one of the greatest players to even play football. Like, what is it like being in a room with someone who is experiencing that much greatness in the present time?
I'm definitely blessed. I get to watch, one of the greatest players of all time, and in my opinion, by the end of his career, he'll be the greatest of all time. I get to see him go to work every single day, and he's one of the most competitive people I've ever met. Like that Mamba mentality, like that's Pat, to a T. He comes into work every single day, lifts guys up around him, makes guys better around him. I'm in Dallas right now. We're in the off season. I'm here, got a bunch of receivers here, and we're starting to process now, starting that offensive chemistry, making sure we're all on the same page, running through the route tree, some concepts, things like that. So it's definitely something that I grew up in college, and he was my favorite quarterback in the league. I was like, dang, like
that's full circle.
I was like, I'm trying to play like him, like and we have some similarities, and so every scout coming out, they'd be like, who do you see yourself as? And I'd always say Pat. And then my first day in Kansas City, I'm sitting right next to him, and I just remember like the first like 20 minutes of like that meeting, I couldn't even think. The whole time I'm just thinking like, damn, I'm sitting right next to like someone I looked up to. Like, that's crazy. And so but nah, Pat's ended up becoming one of my really good friends over the past 2 years. Doesn't get enough credit for, or maybe he does, but I still feel like he doesn't get enough credit for how good of a dude he is, more importantly than the best quarterback in the league. He genuinely cares about people, would do anything for his teammates, anything for the people in his circle. So it's definitely been crazy. Definitely blessed.
Y'all talking about the Chiefs, man. You may or may not know what I'm about to ask you next. Y'all just went back to back, and you know what comes after the back to back, the three-peat.
Yeah.
What y'all got to do to get back there, man? What's it gonna look like?
We've won back-to-back Super Bowls, and we won them both in different ways. To get back there, man, I think we just gotta continue to stay together, continue to do the right things, on the field, off the field, building team chemistry, and it starts now. When we get back to KC here in a couple weeks, we always have a word of the year, like our team mantra for the year.
Yeah.
And so we'll get that word, and that word is not something that we just put up on the board for one day, then we don't see it again. We see that word every single day in the team meeting. It's it's in our playbooks at the top on the headings. It's everywhere, and that's something that we sort of live each day to accomplish. Getting that Super Bowl. So obviously, you win a Super Bowl, and the target's big on your back. You go back to back, and now that thing's a huge target with neon lights, and everyone's obviously gunning for us, and we're always going to get everyone's best shot. So it's still early, and everyone right now in April is like, oh, we're Super Bowl contenders, but I think something that we pride ourselves in Kansas City is not just talking about being Super Bowl contenders, but putting that work in and actually developing and becoming that Super Bowl contending team.
Yeah, man. I want to piggyback off that real quick, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I was a Mahomes hater, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. After the I was a Mahomes hater. I'm like, bro, who is this light skinned dude out here throwing around? Like, I'm tired of hearing about Mahomes, bro. I'm tired of hearing about him.
Yeah, man.
I was a believer after the Philly game, after y'all beat them in the bowl last year. I was a believer after that. Yeah, then I mean, I knew y'all were gonna do really good this year, but I didn't know y'all was gonna beat Baltimore. As good as the season they had, that was a hell of a victory, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. That's why y'all stamped yourselves with me.
The two Super Bowls in my eyes were so much different just because my rookie year, I felt like the whole year we were sort of, that team that everyone thought was going to at least make it. And, we sort of, every single time anyone talked about us, we were one of the top teams in the league, and we were going to be in the Super Bowl contender. And then, this year, just started off slow and then had some spurts here and there throughout the season where people started doubting us, and people were like, "Oh, well, the Chiefs may not even make it out of the divisional round versus Miami." And then, we play Buffalo and got to go to Buffalo on the road. And they're like, "Well, they're definitely not getting out of that game. Win that game." They're like, "Well, they're playing the juggernaut Ravens, in Baltimore." And no one thought we were going to win that game besides, us, obviously. And so it was definitely a different feel in the Super Bowls.
Just talk about, because on a personal note, definitely just want to see your thought process and your mentality of being a backup quarterback in the NFL, and especially in your situation with Pat Mahomes being the guy. Can you talk about how it is balancing that as NFL players in general? Just like, I feel like it's a thin line between being a selfish person in terms of not in a negative way, but just in terms of just caring about your own personal goals, your own personal dreams, because everybody has those goals. Everyone's on their own journey, wanting to accomplish many things. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of things that you want to accomplish in the NFL. Can you just talk about like that line between like worrying about like things that you want to accomplish, as well as, you signed up for a team sport, having to do everything that's in the best interest for the team, like being a backup quarterback, having to go against the scout team every week and getting them better. Talk about just balancing like how that is, this trying to be team first, but as well as just really trying to focus on what you want to do in life and in this league, because it's a short window. Not everyone gets that long window.
It's definitely a short window, and that's a really good question, because there is that fine balance. And I feel like I'm still, I feel like I'm pretty good with that balance, and I'm still finding ways to when you're a backup quarterback, like, you got to be ready every single week, like you're about to start. Oh. Like anything Pat knows on Sundays, like I got to know, and maybe even more. So when he asks a question on the sideline, like I know what information to give him, tell him what I saw from standing there, and sort of go off of what he saw, being on the field. So there's a lot that people don't know that goes on, on the day-to-day with the backup quarterback, and just sort of getting ready. One of the things I pride myself on and that I do is I never let Pat beat me in the building. I get there, I'll get my lift in, I'll get there, start studying a little bit earlier. So when he gets in there, Pat speed races through everything. I mean, he knows the playbook like the back of his hand. So by the time, I'm done, he's getting done too. We're all in cahoots in that way. And then you talk about being selfish. I mean, at some point, everyone wants to be the guy. I wouldn't be playing right now. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't want to be a starter in the NFL one day. That's my dream. But at the same time, you gotta know how this business is, man. And whenever I get my opportunity, I just got to be ready, and I got to be ready to seize it. Because I may only get one opportunity ever.
Exactly.
So if I don't go and attack that opportunity, and if these past couple of years I've just sort of been going through the motions and not really been getting myself primed and ready for that opportunity, and then it comes and I'm not, then that's on me. So there's definitely a good balance. I think, in my opinion, being a backup quarterback is one of the most important jobs in the NFL, just in terms of making sure, like in my case, Pat, or any starter, making sure mentally, physically, they're always there. Being there, the bad times, the good times, being there for them if they need anything, in terms of just like, the day-to-day routine stuff. There's a lot that goes with it, but fortunately I play under a guy that is great, and he doesn't give me too hard of a time. Maybe I get donuts every Friday, every now and then. But besides that, man, it's great. And I'm still I always tell myself, I'm gonna get my opportunity at some point in this league. Just whenever it happens, I'll be ready for sure.
That just speaks to Pat and yourself, because Patrick Mahomes easily could just like be the guy to, like, dog you out, like just be like and all that. But to know that he's not, they know that shows a lot about him, and it shows a lot about you too, just helping him out, even though you be like that should be me, you know what I'm saying? Because real easy for people to get envious and jealous. So kudos to you, bro.
Yeah. There's no room for especially in a quarterback room. There's no room for an envious and jealous guy, because if you are, you're typically not going to last long in the league. So
I know egos can get real big with QBs, man. I know how QBs are
sometimes. Exactly. Got to check your ego at the door, man.
Yes, that's good. But our last question I got for you, man. We'll talk about your relationship with your little brother Jordan, man. And just get would you get any opportunity you want to say to him, or how much what he's meant to you throughout the years. Just this is your time, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, my brother knows how I feel about him. You know, it's one of my that is my best friend. You know, there was so many times during my college career where I was like, man, things weren't maybe going my way, and I always knew in the back of my head, I'm like, he's watching everything I'm doing, so I always knew like I can never give up, I can never quit, and so I think for him to see, you know, what adversity I've gone through, and you know, my brother's had surgery a couple of times, and you know, he sort of can get down at times about, you know, having to sit out and miss spring practice and stuff. You know, I think it keeps him going as well. And so he was a big reason, truthfully, why I kept going. I was like, I can't let him down, can't let my family down. And, you know, he's always been there for me, you know, whether I was starting at USF, I was a backup, I was starting at Sanford, or I was a backup. And then my highest moment in college when I was, you know, the man at South Dakota State, you know, he was there for me, you know, through it all. So he knows how much I love him. And shoot, hopefully we get to play in Kansas City next year, man. That'd be really that'd be really cool, man. You know, I'm excited to sit here and just, you know, watch from afar his senior year. I think he's gonna have a real big year. I think he's got a real big chance to, you know, get drafted. And so you know, hopefully you know, he or not hopefully, but I know he's gonna do his thing, and you know, hopefully we get to play together, you know, in the league here very shortly.
Yeah. Have y'all ever played together anything on the same team?
Never. I mean, at the park, like, y'all trying to run 2-on-2, like me and my brother used to have plays. We're sitting there setting screens and like pickup ball and stuff. Like, yeah, but like anything organized, we never did, because I'm 4.5 years older than him.
Right.
That's why Sanford was like such a like. It was crazy that we were almost about to connect there, because it was like, dang, this is finally going to happen. And then, you know, I dipped and left him. So, you know, it would definitely be cool, real special, you know, if we got to play together.
Bro, I've been talking about this whole time. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm telling Jordan, I said, I want you to go to Chiefs. You know what I'm saying? Just putting it in the air, man. You feel me?
Putting that positive juju in the air.
Yeah, man.
Nah, it definitely be dope. He already be asking me, he be like, hey, so like we do play together, like we gonna live together, or like I'm like, hey, we gotta get there first. But nah, man, I'm really proud of him. He's a dog. We're both so similar and so different in many ways, but you know, he knows I'm proud of him, and you know, I love him.
That sounds good. I know we're about to get into a little rapid fire question segment real quick, but before we get into that, I just gotta know, just because I'm just so much of a fan of the game. I know with great athletes, great players, I know most of the stuff like in practice be crazy. What's the craziest thing you've seen in one of the practice from either Pat, Travis, or just in general, just being in the league?
Yeah, I see crazy stuff. I feel like I almost see it every single day. I'd say the craziest stuff is when, you know, maybe Pat, the scout team, will maybe mess up a look, and this isn't even like a physical tool. Like Pat will like see a look from that scout team and say like the nickel's supposed to be away from the strength. He'll see it. He'll go up to the line and see it and align the defense and tell them where to line up. He'll be like, all right, you're over here. He'll tell the corner, he'll be like, all right, you come down, safety, you rotate. Like, and he'll do this all pre-snap. Like before I'm like, how does he know what look they're supposed to be in? And so I always think that stuff is fascinating. And then there'll be times too where like maybe there's a busted play in practice or something, and Pat, I can tell from Pat's body language, he'll just be like, damn, like play sort of screwed. And so he'll just sort of just like chuck the ball, and he'll chuck it like 70 yards on a dot to someone just running, and they'll be wide open. But he'll throw it and walk away and not even see it caught. And I'm like, bro, do you know you just threw that 75 yards on the money, like for no reason? So all that stuff's crazy. And then Trav just understands space more than anyone. He could have a freaking corner route and end up on the other numbers wide open by himself. And his understanding for the game is just something that I've never seen, you know, from a skill player. So those things always stick out to me when I see those types of things.
I think we definitely see it on Sunday too.
Yeah, especially with Travis, that boy get open.
Yeah, Travis is gonna be open. It may not be the right route, but it's the right route for us, because then we get a 20-yard gain. So,
but I know we're gonna go through a little rapid fire section. with a whole bunch of different questions. Some you might need to put more thought into it. Some you may know off the top of your head, but all these questions answer to the best of your ability. Let me know when you're ready.
I got you. Let's go.
Bet. All right, so you get the first one. You get 5 jerseys. Any sport. That's something we got to clarify, Ern. Any sport.
Yeah.
You get 5 jerseys. You just bought a new crib. You got a man cave at the crib. What 5 jerseys you getting in any sport? I need to know what team, what version of the jerseys. So, like, for example, if it's a Brady jersey, you want the Tampa Bay jersey, you want the New England, what color? I need everything. I need 5. It could be college, professional, whatever you want to go with.
I definitely need a LeBron Cavs jersey, a blue LeBron Cavs jersey from like
the throwback joints. Okay.
Yeah, like the throwbacks. Like definitely would need a LeBron jersey. Definitely would need a Tom Brady Patriots jersey. You know, just through that dynasty era. I feel like you can't miss that. I'd probably take a white one, in the Brady jersey. I need a. People don't even. I have one. It may be from AliExpress. It ain't the real joint. I need a Chipper Jones red alternate jersey. I would need that. That'd be something that I definitely need. I would definitely need a Michael Jordan jersey.
Okay.
I think just the classic red Michael Jordan jersey from one of the championship years. I think that'd be cool.
Last one.
And then last, man. I mean, I feel like it's so easy to say Pat because I play with him. So I would say Pat. Pat would definitely be on that list, but I'm gonna throw him out because I play with him. So I'd say my brother, man. I'd have to get my brother's hung up. Whether it's any NFL jersey or even a Bowling Green jersey, I would definitely need I definitely need his jersey in my crib.
And one thing I want to say about the Chiefs, bro. Can y'all please change y'all jerseys, bro? I'm tired.
You don't mess with their jerseys?
What you mean? Bro, ours are classics.
I don't know, man. I feel like y'all don't got no alternates. I always see the red and white, bro.
That's all. Red and white, baby. That's all we need. Like, we're one of the oldest organizations in the NFL, so we got to keep it traditional, keep it classy, man.
You don't be messing with the all reds or the all white?
Yeah, I'm just tired of seeing them. But I mean, I'm a Bears fan, so I can't.
What you want us to wear? Oh no, you can't even. The Bears be rocking that all orange, that tangerine orange.
But that's a good 5 though. I ain't gonna lie, that's a good 5.
Yes.
All right, next one. I'm gonna put you on the spot though, just because I'm a real football historian, especially Tampa historian. Yeah, and I know you was on one of the coldest 7-on-7 teams in terms of that unsigned preps team with all them weapons that you had. So game on the line, that unsigned preps team, you had Deion Kane, Nate Craig, Ray, all them boys. Game on the line. Who you throwing to if y'all need 6?
Dang, man, you gonna put me on the spot like that?
Who you throwing to? Because that team was loaded.
I mean, I want to say back then, 9 times out of 10, I was going to Deion Kane at the time. I mean, he was the number 1 receiver in the country, 6'4", can jump, run. He was just so hard to stop. I mean, yeah, it was going to be Deion Kane when I was there.
Nah, that's a good one. Hey, that's lead me to my next one. Who in your Tampa Mount Rushmore of players coming out of Tampa? It's your list. It don't got to be necessarily top 4 best, but hey, you need 4. It's yours. Who you rocking with?
Robert Marv, quarterback from Plant. Back in the day. I have a pretty good relationship with him. I grew up watching him, and I always thought he was like the coldest quarterback to ever come out. So Robert Marv, got to be Ray. That's my boy since we were 5 years old. Easily one of the best players to come out of Tampa. Oh man, I'm trying not to make it just all quarterbacks. I mean, I feel like I'd be lying if I didn't put Steven Garcia in there. Jefferson back in the day. Steven Garcia is definitely on there. And then 4, man, that's it.
Shout out Coach Garcia, man. Shout out Coach Steve.
Oh man, 4th.
It's some dogs. Hey,
that's what I'm saying.
Wilder, Aaron Murray, Malik Davis. It's a lot.
I gotta go with my guy Wilder, man. I gotta go with my guy Wilder. I've known him since I was like 5 years old. He's doing this thing. He's doing this thing at Chamberlain now too. So I always grew up and saw how good he was. So when everyone was like awed by him, I was like, that's just him. Like that's who he is. But yeah, so yeah, I feel that's a solid top four. Ray,
Nah, that's a
James
four.
Wilder, Steven, and my guy Rob Marks, man.
Nah, that's a solid four. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Going to your next one. Who the top 3 players you seen play in person?
Top 3 in person, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, easy Pat, for sure. Tyreek Hill was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I ain't never seen someone run that fast with pads on in my life. Definitely Tyreek. And then I'm trying to think who else was just different like that.
It can be growing up too. So
I mean,
you may be like, oof.
I mean, growing up, I played with Ray my whole life, but I always used to be like since we were 8 years old, everyone was like, yeah, Ray gonna be in the league. Like he was that guy. Like everyone knew like when we're walking out on the sidewalk, walking to TYFL about to play the Nucio Jaguars or something, like everyone on that field knew who the best player was, and it was always Ray. So I was always like playing with him. I was like, shoot, I knew from a young age he was going to the league. So
dang.
Yeah.
Nah. All right, next one. Hey, because I know we mentioned a little bit Road to Glory. Hey, if you had to do Road to Glory now, hey, where are you signing to? Outside of the school, outside of Sanford, USF, South Dakota State, Road to Glory now, Chris Oladokun, where we signing? What happened?
Well, it's crazy because South Dakota State and Sanford not even in the game, so that's just first off, that's just disrespectful. But shoot, where I'm signing now, when I get the game in July.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm going to a school. Give me the most NIL money. I'm gonna do just like these kids do. Hey, I'm going. Hey, whoever offered me the most, hey, that's where I'm signing my name. I don't care where it is.
Here,
I'm on the way. USC, Oregon, Texas, wherever it is, I'm on the way.
Where that bread at, boy? Yeah, I feel that.
Exactly. And the thing is, as a quarterback too, it's so easy to make a quarterback a road to glory. But shoot, I'd be liking to make like a running back, receiver, because I don't even be running my routes. Like I'm just taking them deep every time.
Dang, man. Who was your dream school growing up?
Dream school?
Mm-hmm.
My dream school was probably, I mean, it was a mix. It was Florida probably if I had to say one, just growing up watching Tebow, Percy Harvin, the Pouncey twins, Jeff Debs, Chris Rainey, like all those guys. Like I always wanted to be like always watch their games, but also a little bit USF just because I'm from Tampa. Mm-hmm. But if I would have had to pick one, I probably would have gone with Florida.
Hey, Ern, I'm so happy he said that. Hey, because hey, this is one of my favorite ones, Ern. Hey, start bench cut. Ball in the A. You need playmaker. You need to throw a little check down to playmaker, make some shape. Start bench cut, Ern. Hey, you know where I'm going.
Here we go.
Percy Harvin, Tavon Austin, Reggie Bush, man. You need to make something shake, man. Hey. Start bench cut.
Oh,
check down. Throw a check down. Hey, it's in trouble. Make some shake.
I'm gonna start Reggie. I'm gonna bench Percy and cut Tavon. And that pains me to say because what's crazy is I used to play quarterback like JV high school year at Alonzo. I'm playing quarterback and I used to watch Tavon Austin highlights before the game. I'm not about to do one thing on that field that he does, but I'm watching his highlights just to pump me up. His highlights so cold.
And I know you still hear the music in the back of your mind too.
Yeah, bro, I hear it. Dun, 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 dun.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. And the best part of that video when they said Tavon Austin, bro, 100 big ones. That's the best. At that point,
greatest highlight tape ever made, bro.
That's the greatest highlight tape ever made. I don't care what no one said. Him and Cody Paul.
Cody Paul. Hey, that's a legend, Ern. Hey, that's the first person I've ever seen with a mixtape, a football mixtape.
Cody Paul was crazy.
Dang. Nah, I bet. All right, next one. We're gonna speed it up a little bit. If you could pick any superpower, what would it be?
It would be I'd probably say levitate.
That's hard. I ain't gonna lie, we ain't heard that one.
I feel like if I'm just trying to get up and go somewhere, like shoot, let me levitate, let me go over there.
I feel like that's
the first time we heard that one.
Like because I start thinking of practical stuff like what am I gonna do if I'm too fat? Like if I have super speed or super strength, like I'm gonna do just bench and run track or something. Like, nah, I feel like levitate.
I like that.
All right, hey, fill in the blank. I hate when people.
Oof. I hate when people interrupt me. Like if I'm talking and then you just try to interject, I'm like, all right, like I probably hate that the most.
But hey, vice versa. I love when people.
I love when people are themselves. I mean, I feel like I'm always myself. Just be genuine, be a good dude, be a good person. Means a lot.
All right, either college or NFL. Outside of your home stadiums, what was your favorite stadium you got to play in?
It was probably I ain't even gonna lie. I mean, Arrowhead. You said not my home stadium, but Arrowhead. You gotta say it. Arrowhead's greatest stadium in the NFL. But when we went to Buffalo for that playoff game, that was the most electric atmosphere I've ever been in. I'm talking about like we're rolling in on the bus, they're throwing beer cans at us. We're getting the double bird from like 5-year-olds, and like they really like breathe like Bills Mafia. Like that was a pretty cool experience.
And they didn't get you no snowballs, did you? They didn't get you.
They didn't get me, but shoot, they almost got a lot of us.
Hey, I'm sorry, just getting sidetracked a little bit because just as a fan of the game, with all that leading up to that Buffalo game, like, do you be feeling that? Because I know, like, I be feeling like them big games, like, but do y'all feel like that internally, like in the locker room?
That
like,
juice, bro.
We about to play in like one of the like games that's gonna be talked about forever. Like, do you feel that before the game?
We fed off that energy in Buffalo. Like we felt their energy, wow. And like we played into that like 100%. Like we definitely like rolling into the stadium. The bus is just super quiet, and you see we're all just staring out the window, but we're like, yeah, like it's about that time. So we definitely feel it.
That's hard, right?
It's a crazy feeling because you start like I always start shaking my leg. I'm like, and I ain't even running out there, but I'm like, dang, like dude, I'm not gonna make some shake.
All right, next one. Number one vacation bucket list. What's your dream location? Where you trying to go?
I want to go to Greece. I've just seen so many pictures out there. It looks dope. I'd love to go to Greece.
Like the white buildings, they look so pretty. You know what I'm saying? Like the pictures.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I would say Mexico. I love Mexico. Like I'm about to go there again this summer, but Greece.
But hey, what's one conspiracy that you believe actually happened?
To be honest with you, man, I'm not a huge conspiracy guy. I know a lot of people are. Yeah, I'm not a big conspiracy guy though. I don't really get into them.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, all right? We know mine, but hey,
we got a few.
What's yours?
Man, them pyramids, dog. Them pyramids, bro. Hey, no man built them things, but
you be up on YouTube too late, man.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. My YouTube history crazy, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So yeah, we're gonna go to the next one. Hey, if you can only eat one food for the rest of your life, what's it gonna be?
Chicken Alfredo. 100%.
Solid.
What's your biggest goal for the next upcoming year? Besides that, 3-peat.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but obviously the 3-peat, and then just like a personal goal is just make the 53-man roster. I think that's a really big goal of mine this upcoming year. So,
yes, sir. Let's do it.
Hey, it's written. It's written. Yeah. I know you better get that third ring. It's written. All right. Hey, 2 more. If you could pick 3 things to a deserted island, what 3 things you picking?
Ooh, 3 things, man. Deserted island. Because I gotta live. So I gotta have. Dang. That's actually hard. That's a good one. I'm gonna say water, beer, and I need something to keep myself busy. Water, beer, and shoe. Nah, I ain't gonna say that. I was about to say my dog, but what's he gonna do?
Bring him in.
He be all like, "I am legend, bro. You tripping? Be on some I am legend."
I'm gonna say water, beer, and then just like one of my boys. If I feel like if I have those 3 things, we'll be all right. We'll figure it out. But I can't be out there by myself, like talking to myself. Like, I gotta bring someone with me. Gotta bring one of my guys.
I lied. It's 2 more questions now. Next one. Favorite video game of all time?
Favorite video game of all time? Dang. Hey, y'all remember that? I mean, it's such a throwback. Y'all might even be too young for it. But y'all remember the Simpsons hit and run game?
Bruh, yes, bruh.
Bro,
Hey, you can pull up next to the donut shop in that thing.
Bro, I promise you that was like kid GTA. Like before I evolved to GTA, like I was playing the Simpsons hit and run. Like, bro, I swear I don't even like game like that anymore. But if they brought that back, I'd be on it so quick.
I was about to say them games. They used to have one similar. They used to have like a SpongeBob joint. Used to be in that.
Yeah, there was a SpongeBob. I played the SpongeBob joint.
Yeah, that thing used to be fun. Yeah. I ain't gonna count.
Yeah, that's definitely those were the greatest games. Those games with the Tony Hawks, all that.
Tony Hawk. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Tony Hawk joints just be crazy.
Yeah, all those were hard. All those were hard.
I was unlocking memories, bro. I ain't gonna lie. That SpongeBob game was lit back in the
day. Me and my brother used to be on that.
Yes, bro.
Yep, that used to be in that NFL Street era too. Everything. Yeah,
bro. There were so many good games back then. Dang.
Good. All right, last one. Outside of football, what do you want people to remember you by? Like when they hear the name Chris Oladokun, what do you want to come to people's head, or what do you want your name and you everything that you've done to be remembered by?
Like I always tell everyone, I just want people to say he's a good person. Say I'm a good person. You know, genuinely care about people. You know, willing to affect and change people's lives in positive ways. You know, if when I'm gone and if that's what they're saying, you know, at my funeral, you know, I'd lived a pretty good life then.
Hey, it's time to wrap it up then, Ern. Hey, that's a great way to wrap it up, Ern.
So yeah, man, that's gonna be the end of this episode, man. Shout out to my boy Chris coming on the show, chopping it up with us, man. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all, man. It was fun for sure.
So yeah,
two-time. Hey, Ern, you know we gotta ask him, Ern. You know we gotta ask him.
Oh yeah, now okay, I got it.
Come on, Ern.
Chris, man. Current or former, I'm gonna say current one more time, teammates that you would think would be good on this show. Who do you think?
Current teammates that would be good on this show?
Or former, but I emphasize current again.
You funny. I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, I could give you the answer you want to hear, or I could give you like some real answers. Because there's some people that you're not just going through them, like you gotta go through managers to go through. Yeah. Someone that'd be good for this show though, I think would be if Isaiah Pacheco. I think yeah, Pop would be lit.
Hell yeah.
Hey man, come on, man. Hey, yes, sir. Let's get it going.
I might have set it up, man. I'll hit him up.
Yeah. You know, like I say, shout out Chris, man. Thank you for coming on the show, man. I know you're busy schedule getting ready for eat. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up, man. Y'all already know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, man. See y'all next time.